welcome to my human design channel. My name is Juji. This is HD by Z. In case you're new, this is a space for anyone and everyone who loves talking about human design. On this channel, I mostly talk about relationships through analyzing celebrity charts. I also talk about the system itself, and occasionally I interview someone I've worked with so you can get an idea of what human design can do for you. Well, guys, it's been almost 4 months since my last video. Where has the time gone? I've been extremely busy. I hosted my first retreat in Mount Shasta, which was absolutely amazing, life-changing for everyone in attendance. I had the honor of speaking at the Rocky Mountain Human Design Conference recently, and I've been very busy writing a memoir for Sleeping Phoenix Books. What else can I tell you? It's been a crazy summer, but I'm back. And what else could pull me out of hibernation but a public celebrity divorce, i.e. Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas? Before we get into all of that, though, I want to remind you that my master link will be in the show notes below. It has the link to my website where you can book one-on-one readings with me, both for yourself or with a partner. I offer coaching, speaking opportunities, and one-on-one retreats with myself here in my home. And you'll also see that my online community, the Beehive, has mutated. So right now, the only way to join is to donate to the Sleeping Phoenix Books Authors Fund. And through that, you get a 1-month free subscription to try and see what it's all about. It's a really great time to join. We have some amazing programming coming up. You also get access to all of my workshops, a one-on-one call with me, a live chat in Slack to ask questions, interact, meet new people from all over the world, and of course, our weekly Zoom calls. Again, the link for all of that will be in the show notes below. And now let's get into Sophie and Joe. So the interesting thing about this couple is that we haven't really heard any drama from them, basically their entire relationship. And all of a sudden it went from 0 to nasty. And the exact way that it's become nasty is that Joe has basically launched this campaign to ruin Sophie. He calls the paparazzi every time she's out with her friends. They capture her having a drink, and it makes her seem like this out of control party girl while he is posing with his children and the nanny out and about, and making it seem like he's this like family man and she's this scorned woman. And when I started hearing about this and seeing the articles pop up, I got a sense that I knew exactly what was going on behind the scenes, and ta-da, I was right. So let's get into their charts and see what's really going on below the surface. All right, so we're going to start with Joe. Joe is a manifesting generator. He's single definition, emotional authority, 5-1 profile on the left angle cross of revolution. And the thing that really stuck out to me is that there's a lot going on in this chart, but specifically in the solar plexus. We've got 1, 2, 3 channels to the solar plexus, which makes the emotional system very complex. But the specific chemistry that I was really looking for is this 59-6 channel, this channel of mating. And I also say that this is a very sensitive tribal channel because this is the only channel in the solar plexus that puts out emotions as well as taking them in. So keep that in mind as we keep going. All right, so here's Sophie. She is also a manifesting generator. She is also single definition, but she is a sacral authority 2-5 profile on the right angle cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. Boy, is she burning it all down to the ground. Of course, when we look at these charts, it's important to note who's the authority. In this case, it's Joe with his emotional wave, and she's here to wait for him to come to clarity about all of that. But let's see what initially drew them together, because these two have been at it for quite some time. All right, so this is the two of them together. It's 7 and 2 work to do. They have 7 centers defined and 2 open. And so really the two of them could either have a lot of fun on an intellectual level. Banter may have been very important in their relationship, but this can also cause a lot of conflict in the sense that you're not here to listen to your mind, you're here to listen to your body. And if you're not aware of that, things can get kind of sticky. These two have 3 electromagnetics, which is nothing to sneeze at. The thing that really sticks out for me is that they have 2 electromagnetics leading to the emotional system, including this stream of desire over here. They probably had a very healthy attraction to one another. Let's just put it that way. And this channel of sensitivity for the needs of the tribe. And in a short period of time, they've created quite a tribe together. They got married within a year, had 2 children, and 6 years later, they're calling it quits, in spite of the fact that there is this channel of awakening as a companionship, which is really the thing I look for in trying to predict any sort of longevity for a relationship. So it is quite a surprise to me that things went so south so quickly. But something we haven't really looked at a lot is the compromises in people's relationships. Specifically in this case, the compromise of the channel of mating. So a compromised channel is when somebody has the entire channel in the relationship and somebody just has one gate in that channel. So as you can see, Sophie is in purple here, and she has this gate 59 in her chart, and Joe has the whole 59-6 channel. So she is compromised to his emotionality, but she's also compromised to his intimacy, the way that he wants to be intimate in a relationship. And I'm not purely talking about sex. I'm talking about every way in which a couple is intimate, which can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. So what went wrong, and why did things turn so nasty so quickly? Well, do you guys remember that video I made about Will Smith and Jada, and how Will has this channel 59-6 that's very sensitive to the tribe? And so when he exhibited this act of violence in which he slapped Chris Rock on the face in the middle of the Oscars, he was really just protecting his tribe. Was it appropriate? No. Was it overly reactive? Absolutely. Could it have been handled in a different way? But this is how it came out. And Joe has the same channel, and even though he has plenty of other definition in his chart, I'm sure that this has been a focus for him, even though he's not necessarily aware of it. And so on the one hand, we see Will defending his own tribe, and we see Joe turning on his. And that's the thing about this channel of mating. You are either in or you're out. It's the channel of mating, and there's no such thing as half pregnant. So really kind of see how that plays out on the physical plane. Once it was clear that they weren't going to be able to make it work, Joe turned into this protective father and is trying to paint this picture in which he is the hero and the savior. He is a 5-1 profile, remember that. And he is very much protecting his own image in all of this, while Sophie Turner is completely silent on her end. And it's kind of inexplicable to people that Sophie doesn't want to hit back or doesn't seem to want to retaliate. I have been talking to a lot of different folks about the projection field of the 2nd line profile and the 5th line profile. It's just been coming up a lot in conversation. And Sophie Turner is a very rare 2-5 profile. So she has a double projection field on her. The 2nd line gets projected on as somebody who's really good at something, somebody who has natural talent in one area or another. And then the projection field of the 5th line is about them being able to help in some way, be able to fix a crisis, whatever that may be in any given circumstance. And so Sophie is potentially very aware that she's being projected on, and Joe is having a very easy time painting her as this newly liberated party girl. A little bit of context here is also that when she met Joe, she was 20 years old and he was 27. So he wasn't necessarily at the age past his Saturn return where he may have been able to make a decision about who he was going to spend the rest of his life with, especially with such a complex emotional system. I don't really believe that a year is enough for any emotional person to be able to know if that is a life partner they want forever, right? And Sophie being 20 years old and him being this world famous star, somebody that she was projecting on as the hero and the savior, is now, fallen off of his pedestal because they live together, because they're co-parenting and all of this stuff. And she may be feeling like, well, I missed out on my youth. I was very busy working on this intense show, Game of Thrones, and being a wife and being a mom at such an early age, and wanting to let loose a little bit and blow off some steam. Who hasn't done that here? That's what I want to know. I am very aware that it doesn't look good from the outside, but at the same time, because she has this projection field on her, we don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. Just because somebody is photographed with a drink in their hand doesn't mean that they're out of control, but it's very easy to label them as such because those labels tend to stick much more intensely to people who have this projection field on them. And you know what? Sophie has the willpower to follow through with her own convictions. In fact, if we look at her chart, we see that all of her channels are individual channels. She's not really a tribal person. She's not really about maintaining a certain image of herself to be this cookie cutter participant in her own family life. She's an individual. She's here to do what feels right for her as an individual. And because she has this cross of the sleeping phoenix, it can really feel like she's burning something to the ground and mutating it as this individual, where the person who is very tribal and wants to maintain that family image, i.e. Joe, is taking it very, very personally. That's just what the 59-6 does, especially when they're not aware. I want to just pause for a PSA here. If you have the channel 59-6, these are just things to look at and be aware of. This is not a judgment on you or how you're going to react to things. In fact, it's almost a way to see how being reactive just doesn't serve, right? It's very healthy to pause, assess, let yourself go through a couple of those emotional waves before cutting somebody off at the knees and not ever really being able to regain that intimacy with that person, because it's honestly very hard to forgive if you're on the receiving end of such wrath. I myself have experienced this firsthand, and it was very painful. So this is just really a way to see how mechanics work and what the best course of action is, even if it doesn't feel natural. Lastly, I just want to add that being two fifth lines, ping-ponging projection fields back and forth is really a tough situation, right? Not ever really feeling like your partner sees you for who you are. The projection fields of fame getting involved, if these were two regular people, it might not have gotten so out of hand. But because they are both in the spotlight, people are constantly projecting on them. And then they just want to go home and feel like they can be themselves and let it all hang out and be honest with one another. And when they're met with the same projection field at home, that must have been very painful. And it just breaks my heart that it's really just being unaware that has torn these two apart, who were clearly very much in love for many years. All right, guys, I think that's a really good place to wrap it up. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Until next time, and it won't be so long this time. Ciao for now.